أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers in Islam, referring to the creation of mankind and their relations with their Lord. Who created them? Definitely who gave them command. If you obey, you prosper. If you disobey, you know the consequences. I watched the Conference of the People's session today in a friend's house. I think it was either BBC or Al Jazeera. The climate change is a very serious issue, and everybody of the 400 well-to-do who are able to provide private jets and the attendants is very, very significant, and they should be addressed. When I had the session, as I keep on saying, I love the Torah. And if we want to be fair, honest, we should examine the Torah, as I keep on saying, the book of Genesis and Exodus. The Holy Quran, nobody will ever believe in what you say, because nobody will hear the Holy Quran. Those to hear the Holy Quran are a minority. They don't believe in it. They don't even know it. But significantly today, the Pope spoke. I saw the Archbishop of Canterbury. He spoke. He quoted Deuteronomy, but unfortunately, I was not attentive. There was a lot of noise when he was interviewed. So I hope that will be a repeat. But up to the time I left my friend's house, there was no repeat of the interview by the Archbishop of Canterbury. So as I said, I love the book of Genesis. This book, you see, my Bible is the Promise Study Edition, very contemporary English version, very simple English and straightforward. I love it. You see, it is stone. I wanted to reproduce it, but I could not get the same copy. And even if I get the same copy, it's not easy because of the highlightings. You cannot highlight everything. About 1,400 and something pages. So I'm keeping it. Now, I'm addressing those who had the opportunity, the leadership, before Muhammad came, and they said, yes, I did not bring anything new. If you have anything better than what I'm presenting to you, and what was presented before, bring it. But you see, but everybody is deaf, blind, and dumb. As I said, you can't stimulate the Muslims, those who believe in the Holy Quran. You can't stimulate them. To talk to them is like drawing water from a mirage. But you see, I was highly moved, disappointed by the Archbishop of Canterbury. As I said, if I had listened to that Deuteronomy quote, I'm sure he knew he was wrong. Because Deuteronomy is just like hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's repetition of the law, written and oral. But I like chapter 1 in the book of Genesis. Those days of the wonderful architecture, the will, the desire, and the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that at the end of each step, he will examine what he did. If there's any flaw, he would have changed it. But in the end, he said he was happy and he made it like that. So when Allah created the universe, he created it in beauty, perfection, that gave him pleasure. Then on the 6th day, he created 6 foot, Lilliputian, 60 meters or something 60. And when he created him, he was alone. But this is, sorry, I'm quoting from the book of Genesis. So I don't think, they don't have controversy. They don't have disagreement. So I'm sure they'll listen to me and accept what I'm saying, but it's only to practice it. So he said, he can't live alone. He needs comfort. So he created his pair, a female, to make him comfortable in the garden. Then what happens is beautifully written in the book of Genesis. I believe in it. Because I can't bring a substitute. So I have to believe in it and apply it in my life. You see, if you go down again, the murder, then the Lord said, don't repeat it, because the lion will devour you. And the rainbow is a sign of his happiness and happiness, pleasure and displeasure. Then definitely the book of Genesis is the backbone of my faith. So you must obey the Lord of the universe. And that is the covenant, grace and providence. And as Reverend Matthew Henry beautifully commented, the Lord must be, it is his right, his absolute authority to govern us. And our relationship with him is that we must understand his governance and obey him. My brothers, let us leave the book of Genesis and let us come to the book of Exodus. You see, in the book of Exodus, the question was asked, what of the king? Did the king have no choice? This is page 67. He said, throughout the Old Testament, the Bible, we read that each of us have a choice. We can obey Allah, God, or disobey Him. And we will receive the benefits or the consequences of our decisions. Yet, it seems at first glance of this passage that the Egyptian king's stubbornness was caused by God. How can this be? That's what I don't believe. Everything is Allah. Make a dua. He will never listen to you. Because Muhammad never made any dua in his life. There's a difference between a dua and expressing your pleasure, satisfaction, on what Allah did to you. That's not a dua. It's a recognition of your weakness and the supremacy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. God gives us the freedom to make our own decisions. When people choose to continually disobey God, He makes them stubborn. These individuals have already made the choice to turn away from God. Do you know the corresponding verse? وَنَقَلِّبُ أَفْئِدَتَهُمْ وَأَبْصَارُهُمْ كَمَا لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهِ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. You see, there's no difference between the Holy Quran and the book of Genesis and Exodus when it comes to understanding your relationship between the Creator and you. There's no difference. This is what I keep on saying. That's why I say I now read the Bible more than the Holy Quran. Because I know the Arabic. I know its equivalent from these two books, Genesis and Exodus. It's much easier to refer to Tawheed. Not in the Holy Quran where everything is in pieces. Jigsaw puzzle. Very difficult to link. We can compare the relationship between the king's stubbornness and the gods causing him to be stubborn to the following statements. Joy flunked history class, and the history teacher flunked Joy. Both statements are true. But the cause of Joy failure is joy. Joy. Similarly, the king already had a proud, stubborn attitude. God did not cause him to have this attitude. And there are so many equivalents of this in Arabic. قل هو من عند أنفسكم. The Battle of Uhud. لا تعتصموا لدي. There's so many others. He knew the king would not readily release the Israelites. God used this situation to show both the Israelites and the Egyptians that He is the one true God. Allahu Akbar. So how do you hate Allahu Akbar? هو الواحد القهار. أليس هذا بالحق؟ My brothers, then on page 96, what a God. Notice the balance in the way God described Himself to Moses, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. The Lord is merciful. He is very patient and shows great love to us. In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah yuhibbukum. He can be trusted. أليس الله بكاف على عبده آمنوا بالله ورسوله. He keeps his promises. لا تبديل لخلق الله. لا سنة الله. لا تبديل ولا تحويل. Yet God hates sin. إن الله لا يحب الظالمين. إن الله لا يحب الكافرين. إن الله لا يحب المشركين. إن الله يحب الفاسقين. And he punishes people when they sin. فانتقمنا من الذين أجرموا. فانتقمنا من الذين أجرموا. It may surprise us to learn that God sometimes punishes future generations. Salafa. Look at this. فإن لم تنتهوا because of the sins of their generation, their ancestors. أفتهلكنا بما فعل المجرمين. Unfortunately, the children often do suffer because of the mistakes of their parents. لا تزقنا بعد إذ هديتنا. فأرد عنهم وتولى. Don't misunderstand what this means. We are all responsible for our own actions. لا تذر الوازرة وزر أخرى. وإن تدعو مثقلة لا يحملها لا يحمل منه شيء ولو كان ذا قربى. We cannot excuse our sins by blaming our parents. لا تعتذروا. إنما تجزون ما كنتم تعملون. لا تعتذروا. However, we can overcome mistakes of the past by trusting God and asking for His help. توبوا إلى الله جميعا أيها المؤمنون. فتوبوا إلى الله جميعا. What we need to remember is that how we live will have an impact. ذلك بما قدمت يداك. Positive or negative, on the generations to come. The conclusion of this is ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعد الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. قل سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة الذين من قبل كان أكثرهم مشركين. Now, you see, what I'm trying to point out is the hypocrisy. Take all the statements of the leaders, their cry, and the worst insult is, I think, the statement made by, I don't know who made that particular statement, that science will solve the problem of climate change. Then I remembered so many verses in the Holy Quran. The Thamud, Man ashaddu minna quwwatan. Then Allah said, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّ اللَّهَ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُمْ وَأَشَدَّ مِنْهُمْ قُوَّةً وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يَجْحَدُونَ. So what I'm saying is that you, the people of the book, the situation or the problem is not from your leaders and your scholars. It's from you who refuse to, as I did, spend, I don't know how much I bought this book. I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 years ago. I have not, but you see it is shredded. I tried sometimes to replace it, but I don't find the same. Youths, you have no future. If you want a repeat of what has been mentioned in the Torah, and subsequently all that followed, there was never a punishment by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except when he is disobeyed. You have read this more than me. Definitely you know from, there are so many threats that Jerusalem will be destroyed. So the question of climate change is your sin. It's the sin of mankind. Unfortunately, the Archbishop of Canterbury is a minority in the Christian bloc of the 2 billion mentioned during the conference. So who will listen to him if he said, look, we have to stop intimidating, provoking the Lord of Abraham, because he's a jealous, he never forgives. What about in the Holy Quran? So Allah came later and made everything unaccountable without punishment. Now that is the problem of the two parties, the Old Testament and the Holy Quran. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never mentioned that he is an absolute authority. He said, bring a book from huwa min indillahi ahda minhuma, superior to the Torah, the Injil, and the Holy Quran. I will follow it. So what I'm saying is that definitely this COP conference is a demonstration of our desire as Pharaoh approached Musa in the book of Exodus. Beseech your Lord. It's there in the Holy Quran also. Bima ahad indaka rabbika la in kashafta anna rijsa la nu'minanna laka. We shall definitely, if you remove this hardship, the 10 frog, everything, plague, frog, blood, locusts, beasts, everything, we shall believe in you, and I will release the children of Israel to you. But then, فَلَمَا كَشَفْنَا عَنْهُمُ الرِّجْزَ بَلَغُوا إِذَا هُمْ يَنكُثُونَ. So what you are saying is, there is climate change, there is COVID. Now we have the vaccines. So what do you expect? Again, for another wave of punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can become extinct. The same thing happened. The famine in Egypt. Where was Potiphar? Who solved the problem? Joseph. And that was repeated. Abu Sufyan had to go to Medina. The same he quoted is, I'm quoting you, in the manner Joseph removed famine from Egypt. Beseech your Lord to remove famine from Mecca. So why the difference between the Holy Quran and the previous revelations? Now this is the stupidity. This is our failure to understand. You youths, please listen to the one who will never have a jet, private jet. He will never have anything, gold, adornments, yachts, the best of everything. I can't be a trillionaire. But whatever they have, they eat the same food I eat. They breathe the same air. Let everything be purified, but definitely it has source from God. So my conclusion is, how can the same source, the authority, the power, the loving, the compassionate, the merciful, who looked at Adam, said he can't live alone, he needs comfort, turn later on to punish us? In the heavens, Father explained, if you come down, if you obey me, you will not have thirst, you will not be hungry, and they will not have heat. The climate change is mentioned in the Holy Quran. So what are we saying? So Muhammad is telling us now that if you obey me, there won't be any climate change. But then let us divide the world into two. That's what we cannot do. And if you say divide the world into two, they say you are an extremist, you are a terrorist. But then let us live with the extremism and terrorism from the Lord of the universe. Assalamu alaikum.